The most wanted guy in school is obsessed with me. I was about to take my shot at the target when out of nowhere, someone emerged from the shadows and snatched the apple right off it. And who was it? None other than Travis, the most popular guy at school. Lately, he'd been flirting with me every chance he got. He smirked and said, "Let's play a game. If you miss the target, you have to kiss me. But if you hit it, then I have to kiss you. What do you say?" "Sure, why not?" I agreed. Everyone knew how good I was at archery. And as expected, I nailed a perfect bullseye. "Deal's deal, cream puff," he said, closing his eyes like he was ready for his punishment. But instead of kissing him, I called over Loki, the school cat, and whispered something in his ear. Then I said, "You can open your eyes now." Next thing Travis knew, Loki scratched his face like a wild animal on a rampage. As I walked away feeling completely satisfied, I couldn't help but think, "Hi, my name is Bianca, and I've always thought I was incapable of falling in love." Well, that's what I used to believe anyway. But before I go on, mind giving this video a like and hitting subscribe. Thanks. My mom owns a massive chain of hotels, and I'm the only heir to the entire business empire. Our family name was already well known, but I definitely took it to another level. Some of the headlines you might have seen. Teen arrested for kissing alleged gangster. Spoiled princess spotted at an archaeological site closed to the public. Bianca announces she'll pay any amount to straighten the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Each headline worse than the last. Alleged gangster mom, we broke up. And yes, I had a weird fascination with history. That's why I just had to see that archaeological site. Also, come on, am I the only one who gets annoyed by that Leaning Tower? When will they ever fix it? Mom interrupted me mid-thought. When will you ever get serious, Bianca? I have a private jet to catch, but we're not done talking about this. Yeah, go to your meeting, Mom. You didn't even remember to wish me a happy birthday. Still, I wasn't going to let that stop me from celebrating. I threw myself a huge birthday party at the newest club in town. That is, until Travis showed up uninvited and started approaching me and my best friend Carmen like he owned the place. Despite that face of his. He leaned in and said, "Hey, sugar lips. Want to dance? Aren't you supposed to hate me for making you look like Frankenstein? What's love without a little pain?" He grinned. "And I adore your feistiness." The whole night he wouldn't leave me alone. Eventually, I had to get Carmen to distract him while I tried to sneak away. But of course, he noticed and followed me like some obsessed fan. "I'm not done with you, my love," he called after me. I turned the corner and opened a VIP door at the end of the hallway. Inside were some men in suits playing poker. They all looked up at me like I'd landed from outer space. "Oopsie, wrong room. Thought it was the bathroom," I said awkwardly. "But may I say, sir, your jacket is really cool. Very vintage 90s Michael Jackson kind of vibe." Okay, we get it. We won't bother you guys. May the best man win. Bye." Luckily, Travis was gone when I came back out, so I finally left the club. But of course, I couldn't avoid him at school forever. He became such a nuisance that eventually I had to get a restraining order against him. Life was peaceful again, until a few days later, when Carmen dropped a bomb on me. She told me her cousin from the village would be joining our school. "Since when do you have a cousin?" I asked. "Ever since he was born," she replied. "You never told me about him. I also never told you I collect snakeskins and samurai swords in my basement. Friends don't have to share everything, do they? Well, I think some secrets are good." "Oh my God, he's here." Carmen suddenly squealed. I turned to see a guy walking toward us like he was the king of the underworld. The way he strutted, you'd think he knew exactly how hot he was. But then, out of nowhere, he tripped over absolutely nothing and fell headfirst into the fountain nearby. Just as quickly, he stood back up like nothing happened. Watching him felt like seeing a live-action comic strip. "Are you sure he's not some hot model you paid to act like your clumsy cousin?" Joke. "Nice way to say he's hot and adorable," Carmen shot back. Then Slater, her cousin, spun her around like she weighed nothing. "Carmen, my favorite girl. I missed you so much." He turned to me next, and I was stunned. Up close, he was even better looking and oddly familiar. You must be Bianca, Carmen's best friend. I'm Slater. Nice to finally meet you. Did you just curtsy? I asked, narrowing my eyes. No. Is this how city people greet each other? Excuse us a moment, Carmen pulled me aside. What are you doing? Talking to your best friend's cousin. Why does that require you to bring your face so close to his? I just thought he looked really familiar. You're finding an excuse to flirt with him, aren't you? Listen, Bianca. You never take boys seriously. You play with their feelings and dump them. Promise me you won't do that to my cousin. He's not even my type. Relax. Just don't get involved with him that way, or it's friendship over. Understood loud and clear, ma'am. From then on, the three of us started hanging out more. I couldn't quite believe someone like Slater actually existed. Sheer perfection on the outside, yet somehow the clumsiest person on earth. He tripped over air, slipped on smooth floors, stumbled over flat surfaces. Once, he even gave himself a black eye tying his shoelaces. But one night, while admiring a painting at home, something clicked. Like lightning out of nowhere. I remembered where I'd seen Slater before. I need to talk to you, I told Carmen urgently. Your cousin's hiding something shady. A month earlier, Mom and I attended an art exhibition downtown. One of the artists there was Slater. We even bought a painting from him. Only his hair and eye color were different, but it was definitely him. And he hadn't been clumsy at all. Must have been a look-alike, right? But Carmen insisted. Slater has lived in the village his whole life and just got here last week. He can't even draw a circle. Still, I showed Slater's picture to Mom, and she confirmed it was him. Now she was contacting the artist again to buy more paintings, and he was coming soon. That's when I'd finally know the truth. You just need to give yourself something to be excited about, Carmen said. Do whatever you want. But you're wrong. A couple of days later, the artist called Mom saying he had to leave town and would meet her next month. How convenient. I decided not to say anything to Slater yet. Instead, I'd keep watching him. Sooner or later, he'd slip up. One day, I was following him at the gym, bored out of my mind watching him miss the 100th basket in a row. I decided to skip the rest of school and get a manicure. As I walked to my car, a van suddenly pulled up beside me. Good day, child. Would you like to buy some apples? I run an orphanage and want to get some toys for the kids. Sure thing. Just give me a basket and I'll give you $100,000. As I reached for the basket, Slater literally popped out of nowhere and crashed into me. Hey you. Who do you work for? Show me your ID. The poor lady looked terrified and sped off. What the heck was that? Snap. Didn't your parents ever tell you not to take candy from strangers? But those are apples, not candy. And who am I, Snow White? Is that cute old lady trying to poison me because I'm the fairest girl in all the land? This isn't funny. You don't know how dangerous some situations can be. Oh please. I swam with sharks last year and jumped off a hot air balloon when it malfunctioned. I laugh in the face of danger. And that lady. Not dangerous. I know you're from the village and probably think everyone in the city is evil. But please stop being a weirdo. But Slater only got weirder. Another time the three of us were at a restaurant. As soon as the waiter served our food, Slater started sniffing mine. If you wanted me to completely lose my appetite, you succeeded, I said. What's wrong with you? He also sniffed his own food and Carmen's. That's how we do it in the village, he explained. The first whiff tells you everything you need to know about the food. Like how organically it was grown, whether the farmer sang to his crops and cows. I ordered a giant brownie sundae with whipped cream and sprinkles. Are you insane? Just give me that. Suddenly, there was a loud crashing sound next to us. Slater immediately jumped toward me, pulling me down to the floor and covering me like a human shield. He was staring down at me and I admit, I was a little breathless. Then I noticed everyone else staring at us like we were crazy. A waiter had just dropped a tray full of glasses. Oh, my bad. I thought it was a gunshot. Maybe some robbers came in. I just acted on instinct. Wait, let me get this straight. You thought it was dangerous, and your first instinct was to save Bianca, Carmen said, crossing her arms. What about me? Your own flesh and blood. Slater mumbled some apologies while Carmen scolded him. Even if he was crazy, it was sweet how he tried to protect me. One weekend, Carmen told me the cheer captain was throwing a party just for the cheerleaders and their dates. I felt curious to see how Slater would act surrounded by other girls. So I sneaked over to the venue and spied from the bushes. But I couldn't find him anywhere. Knowing how girls looked at him, he was probably surrounded by cheerleaders. Whatever. I decided to use the time to practice my singing. I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand. I sang to myself for hours, humming lyrics no one else could understand. Suddenly, I heard a sound behind me. Slater. What are you doing here? Same question for you, he replied. I came here to sing flowers, because there are flowers here. Duh. What about you? It was too loud inside. Everyone was acting wild. It scared me. Just then a big bug flew toward our faces. Slater tried to swat it away but ended up slapping me instead. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. My hand is stupid. Bad hand. Slater, why are you so freaking clumsy? I don't know. I was just born that way. But I get even clumsier around you, because attractive girls make me nervous. And you're the most beautiful I've ever seen. That's when it hit me, he liked me. And that could make things complicated. I had to avoid him from now on before Carmen got the wrong idea and unfriended me. But the very next day, I found him in the janitor's closet, with his butt stuck in a mop bucket. Jesus, what have you done this time? Can you just help me, please? I think I got a cramp. As I pulled him up, our lips accidentally touched. And for some reason my stomach fluttered. Just then, someone gasped from the doorway, Carmen. Girl, it's not what you think, I said, dragging her to an empty classroom. I swear there's nothing romantic going on between us. He's too dumb and clumsy for me. Plus, I'm pretty sure he's a liar. Excuse me, that's my cousin you're insulting, Carmen snapped. But I feel like you're attracted to him. Just don't get attached to him, okay? He's not right for you. Of course, duh. I already knew that. But I was still bothered by what she said. Why did she think he wasn't right for me? A few days later, I was practicing archery alone when suddenly, an arrow came flying out of nowhere and almost hit me. I spun around and saw someone behind a tree. I ran over and found Slater. What are you doing here? Trying to kill me now? No. What just happened? You happened, Slater. You nearly shot an arrow straight into me. You're a hazard to society. I still couldn't wrap my head around what had just happened. Slater had almost shot me with an arrow. On purpose? Or was it an accident? He looked genuinely horrified. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, he stammered. I didn't even realize you were there. I would never hurt you, Bianca, I swear. Let me make it up to you with ice cream. He tried to smile like nothing had happened, but I wasn't buying it. Why was he always showing up everywhere I went? It was starting to feel like he was just as obsessed with me as Travis was. And now he'd nearly sent an arrow straight into me. What if he hadn't missed? Still, I agreed to go with him for ice cream. I figured I could use the time to study his behavior. See if I could finally crack the mystery that was Slater. As we walked, I asked, So, are you free tonight? There's something I want to talk to you about. Just you and me. He blinked. Okay. But why not talk now? Because, I said, rolling my eyes, it's not the kind of thing you say over ice cream shakes. Oh, right, ice cream shakes. Tonight's better. He gave me a goofy grin and added, I'll send you the location pin. Then, out of nowhere, he just jumped out of the car and walked off. Left me sitting there like, what even was that? But I was curious. What could he possibly have to say that required privacy and some mysterious rooftop meeting? That night, when I arrived at the location, I was less than thrilled to find out where he'd brought me. The rooftop of an old building, 8 flights up, with no elevator. Great, I muttered under my breath as we climbed. No air conditioning, no snacks, and definitely no escape if this turns into a murder scene. Slater was practically clinging to my shirt on the way up. Can you give me some space? Snap. But what if I trip, he whined. You know how clumsy I get. Groaned. Then maybe don't invite people to rooftops, genius. When we finally reached the top, though, I was stunned. The entire place was lit by candles, and there was a small table set up with dinner. What is all this? I asked, surprised. A date, he said simply. Were you expecting a crime scene or something? Well, considering your cousin warned me about you. I trailed off. She did, he admitted. But she doesn't see why I think you're amazing. You're beautiful, you're fearless, and honestly, you're unlike anyone I've ever met. I felt my cheeks warm slightly, but I quickly shook it off. She was trying to protect me because of your track record with relationships, right? So, why don't you tell me what that's about? And just like that, Slater opened up. He told me about growing up watching his dad leave his mom for another woman. That betrayal had left deep scars, not just on his mom, but on him too. He never let anyone close after that. I guess I'm afraid, he admitted. Afraid of getting hurt. Afraid of hurting someone else. His honesty caught me off guard. I softened a little, even though I still wasn't sure if I trusted him completely. He looked at me, then slowly leaned in. Against my better judgment, I found myself leaning forward too. Our lips touched, and for a moment everything else disappeared. There was a spark, electric and undeniable. But then reality hit me like a ton of bricks. No, I whispered, pulling away. This can't happen. I care too much about Carmen. He nodded, understanding. I get it. Later that night, though, all I could think about was Slater, and that kiss. Was it possible that Carmen was wrong about him? Maybe I could talk to her, convince her that we weren't doing anything wrong. But then again, I still believed Slater was hiding something, and I was going to find out what. The next day, Mom told me the artist, the same one who sold us the painting, was back in town and displaying his work at a gallery. Perfect. If Slater really was that artist, I'd catch him red-handed. So I dressed up in disguise and headed to the event. There he was. Same guy, different style. Definitely Slater. As I passed him, I pretended to trip, intentionally scraping his arm with my pen. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm not great with walking, or life really. He chuckled. Clumsy like me. Something like that, I mumbled. The next day at school, he was wearing a long-sleeved shirt. Suspicious. To test him further, I spilled juice on him during lunch. Oops. You have to change your shirt. It's fine, he shrugged. I dry fast. I tried other tricks too. Accidentally bumping into him, knocking his bag off the desk, but he dodged every attempt. Guess I had no choice but to take matters into my own hands. After class, I followed him outside, waiting for the perfect moment. When he turned around unexpectedly and pinned me against the wall, I nearly jumped out of my skin. Bianca, he said, exasperated. Why are you trying to attack me? How did you know I was behind you? Spider senses, he joked. Before he could react, I yanked up his sleeve, and there it was. A fresh cut on his arm. Proof he was the artist. Ha! I knew it, I exclaimed. You're the fake village boy. You're the artist. Before I could say more, 2 guys appeared from around the corner, holding vicious-looking dogs and pointing directly at us. Bianca, run! Slater shouted. He grabbed my hand and we bolted down the street, the dogs barking wildly behind us. We sprinted for blocks until he pulled me into an old building and started racing up the stairs. We burst onto the rooftop, panting, only to hear the gangsters following us. There's no way out. Gasp. There is, Slater said grimly. We jump. Excuse me. No time for questions. Do you trust me? Of course not. You're the clumsiest person I know. Just hold on to me. I promise I won't let anything happen to you. Against every instinct screaming at me to stop, I nodded. And then we jumped. We soared through the air and landed face first in a garbage pile. EW. Fish heads, I groaned. This isn't over, he said, helping me up. We need to keep moving. Eventually we managed to lose them. But before Slater could explain everything, the gangsters found us again. He pushed me inside a nearby diner and fought them off like a total ninja. I grabbed whatever I could find and threw it at the guy sneaking up behind him with a metal chair. Bullseye, he called out. That's my girl. Just then, police swarmed the area, arresting the gang members. Slater pulled out a badge. You're under arrest, he said coolly. I stared at him in shock. You're a detective. He explained everything. Turns out, I'd accidentally stumbled into a mafia operation that night at the club. They thought I saw something important, and since then I'd been a target. He was already undercover when he met me, posing as the artist. Once they realized I was their main threat, he joined our school to stay close and keep me safe. And that rooftop date? I asked quietly. He winced. Kind of a setup. We had cops hidden everywhere. We were hoping they'd try to grab you there. So it had all been part of the mission. His interest in me, the kiss, the conversations. It was all to keep me protected. Or was it? Thank you, I said softly. For saving my life. That's just my job, he replied. Glad you're safe. And with that he walked away. I watched him go, feeling emptier than I expected. The next day he was gone. No goodbye. No note. Carmen finally told me the truth. Slater really is her cousin. He became a detective young, and he never shares much about his cases. But after the restaurant incident, when he clearly shielded me from danger, she confronted him. He said it was confidential, she admitted. But I knew it had to do with you. That's why I didn't want you getting close. He can't form attachments. He's here for his job. So he used me as bait, I said bitterly. I didn't want you to get hurt, she replied. I rolled my eyes. Please. I told you, I'll never fall in love. But even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. Over the next few days I tried to go back to normal. But Slater was always on my mind. Even Mom noticed. No wild headlines lately, she teased. No crazy adventures. Not really, I shrugged. Just quiet. She sat beside me and awkwardly pulled me into a hug. Sweetie, I know your dad hurt us both. But don't close your heart off. Love isn't stupid. One day you'll meet the right guy, and it'll be amazing. A few days later, Mom decided to take a break from work. We planned a vacation together. But just as I was leaving for the airport, I heard a crash from the main hall. There, Slater had pinned Travis to the ground. Travis. Slater. What are you both doing here? Travis struggled. Bianca, my cream puff. I couldn't live without seeing you again. Slater sighed. Found him crawling through the dog door. After handing Travis over to security, Slater turned to me. Actually, I came here for the same reason he did. Which is? To see you. I raised an eyebrow. Where are you going this time? Top secret, he grinned. But I need you to fall in love with me. Be my girl. I laughed. Wow. That sounds like a tough mission. It's challenging, he said, stepping closer. But I'm not afraid of hard assignments. He kissed me gently, then bumped his forehead against mine. Wait, I said, pulling back. You're only clumsy when you're in love, aren't you? He smiled sheepishly. Guilty. And somewhere inside I knew I was falling hard.